Barry Marshall, the man who drank bacteria. How one doctor changed everything we knew about stomach ulcers. Introduction. A medical mystery. For much of the 20th century, the cause of stomach ulcers was considered an open and shut case. Most doctors believed that stress, spicy foods, smoking, and excessive acid were to blame for the burning pain and digestive misery that afflicted millions worldwide. Treatments focused on bland diets, antacids, and stress relief. But for many patients, relief was temporary at best, and ulcers often recurred, sometimes with dangerous complications. Into this medical dead end stepped a young and unconventional Australian doctor named Barry Marshall. His bold theory, and the extraordinary lengths he went to prove it, would not only overturn decades of medical dogma, but also reshape how the world viewed infectious disease, the gut, and the very process of scientific discovery. The old theory: stress, acid, and spicy food. For generations, ulcers were seen as a disease of the modern world. The typical ulcer patient was imagined as a high-strung businessman, burning the candle at both ends, living on coffee and cigarettes, and suffering from chronic anxiety. The medical consensus was clear. Stress increased stomach acid production, which eroded the protective mucus lining of the stomach and duodenum. Spicy foods, alcohol, and smoking were considered aggravating factors. Treatment involved antacids, milk, and sometimes even surgery to remove part of the stomach. This view was so entrenched that medical textbooks, advertisements, and public health campaigns all reinforced the message. The idea that bacteria could survive in the acidic environment of the stomach, let alone cause ulcers, was seen as absurd. The outsiders, Barry Marshall and Robin Warren. In the late 1970s and early 1980s, two Australians, Dr. Robin Warren, a pathologist, and Dr. Barry Marshall, a young physician, began to question the status quo. In examining stomach biopsies from ulcer patients, Warren consistently noticed spiral-shaped bacteria clinging to the stomach lining. He and Marshall hypothesized that these bacteria, not stress or diet, were responsible for the inflammation and eventual ulceration. Their proposed culprit? A previously overlooked bacterium eventually named Helicobacter pylori, H. pylori. The theory, bacteria not stress, Marshall and Warren's hypothesis, was radical. They argued that H. pylori colonizes the stomach lining and causes chronic inflammation, leading to gastritis and eventually ulcers. Treatment should target the bacteria, not just acid production. But there was a problem. The prevailing dogma was so strong that their findings were dismissed by the medical establishment. Critics argued that bacteria simply couldn't survive in the stomach's harsh acidity. Others believed the bacteria were merely harmless bystanders, not the cause of disease. Rejection by the medical community. Marshall and Warren faced an uphill battle. Their research papers were rejected by leading medical journals. Peers ridiculed their results, calling them simplistic or flawed. Pharmaceutical companies invested in long-term ulcer treatments were skeptical of a cure that involved a short course of antibiotics. For 2 years, the duo struggled to convince the world of what they had seen under the microscope. Their frustration grew as patients continued to suffer and receive ineffective treatments. The ultimate proof. A dramatic experiment. Desperate to break through the wall of skepticism, Barry Marshall decided to take an extraordinary risk. In 1984, he conducted what is now considered one of the most famous and ethically controversial experiments in medical history. He drank a beaker full of H. pylori bacteria. Within days, Marshall developed the classic symptoms of gastritis: nausea, vomiting, and stomach pain. A biopsy confirmed inflammation and the presence of the bacteria. He then took a course of antibiotics, and the symptoms vanished as the bacteria were eradicated. This self-experiment provided direct proof that H. pylori could cause stomach inflammation and, by extension, ulcers. Changing minds. The evidence grows. Marshall's dramatic stunt made headlines and drew attention to his research. More importantly, it inspired other scientists to investigate. Over the next several years, multiple studies confirmed that H. pylori was present in almost all patients with peptic ulcers, and that eradicating the bacteria led to lasting cures. Key milestones included clinical trials showing that antibiotic therapy, not just acid suppression, could heal and prevent ulcer recurrence. Epidemiological studies linking H. pylori to not only ulcers but also stomach cancer. By the 1990s, the evidence was overwhelming. Major medical organizations revised their guidelines, and the paradigm shifted. Peptic ulcers were now understood to be primarily an infectious disease. The impact, from suffering to cure. The discovery that H. pylori causes ulcers has transformed millions of lives. Cure rates soared. Instead of lifelong antacids or risky surgery, most patients received a simple course of antibiotics and acid-blocking drugs. Stigma evaporated. Ulcers were no longer a sign of weak character, poor self-control, or a stressful personality. Cancer prevention. Treating H. pylori has been shown to reduce the risk of developing stomach cancer, saving countless lives. This revolution in treatment is one of the great success stories of modern medicine. Recognition, the Nobel Prize. After years of struggle, Barry Marshall and Robin Warren's work was finally recognized at the highest level. In 2005, they were awarded the Nobel Prize in Physiology or Medicine for their discovery of the bacterium Helicobacter pylori and its role in gastritis and peptic ulcer disease. Their journey from outcasts to Nobel laureates is a testament to the power of curiosity, perseverance, and the willingness to challenge orthodoxy. Lessons from the H. pylori story. The saga of Barry Marshall and H. pylori offers powerful lessons for medicine and for anyone facing entrenched beliefs. Question assumptions. Even the most widely accepted truths may be wrong. Be bold. Sometimes extraordinary claims require extraordinary evidence, even if it means taking personal risks. Science is self-correcting. While progress can be slow, good evidence eventually wins out. Patient lives matter most. The ultimate goal of research is to alleviate suffering and improve health. The ongoing legacy today, Helicobacter pylori, remains a subject of active research. Scientists are exploring its role in other diseases, its complex interactions with the gut, and why some people infected never develop ulcers. Barry Marshall, now a celebrated scientist, continues to advocate for curiosity-driven research and the importance of challenging the status quo. Conclusion: a toast to the mad scientist. Barry Marshall's willingness to drink a beaker of bacteria was more than a stunt. It was a bold declaration that the pursuit of truth sometimes demands courage, creativity, and a touch of madness. Thanks to his work, millions are free from the pain of ulcers, and medicine is reminded that the next revolution may come from the most unexpected quarters. The next time you hear someone claim that stress or spicy food causes ulcers, you'll know the real story, a story of skepticism, risk, triumph, and the stomach-churning taste of discovery.